Every island in Hawaii exists because one goddess would not stop running from her sister. Every single one, not a metaphor, not a coincidence, an actual geological fact that modern scientists confirmed 2 centuries after the myth first explained it. One sister was fire, the other was the entire ocean, and the war between them built a nation. Her name was Pele. She was exiled from her homeland for stealing her own sister's husband, and from the moment she fled, that sister chased her across the Pacific with the full force of the sea. Flooding every home Pele tried to build until there was nowhere left to run but the one place the ocean could never fully reach. This is the story of how a fight between 2 sisters became the origin story of an entire island chain, and why Hawaiians still say, when the ground shakes and the lava starts moving, that Pele is simply doing what she has always done. Pele was born in Kahiki, the ancestral Polynesian homeland far to the south of Hawaii, one of many children of Haumea and the sky god Kain Milohai. She had fire in her from birth, in her temper as much as in her nature, and that temper is what ended everything. Her elder sister Namaka ruled the sea. Namaka was married to a powerful chief. Some tellings say Pele fell in love with him the moment she saw him. Others say it was never about love at all, that Pele simply wanted something her sister possessed because wanting what her sister had was always part of what stood between them. Either way, she seduced him. When Namaka discovered what her sister had done, the fury that followed was not a family argument. It was the beginning of a war between 2 of the most powerful forces in the Hawaiian cosmos, one that would not end until an entire chain of islands existed as its scar tissue. Pele's father banished her, not Namaka. Pele, the daughter who had broken the family apart, was the one sent away, while the wronged sister stayed behind with every right and every reason to make sure the punishment did not end at exile. Her older brother, Kamahawali, king of sharks, gave her a great double-hulled canoe. She gathered her surviving brothers and carried her unborn youngest sister, Hiaka, with her in the form of an egg, tucked against her body the entire journey, and set out across the open Pacific with nowhere fixed to land and an entire ocean's worth of fury behind her. Pele made landfall first at Kauai, the oldest of the main Hawaiian islands. She struck the earth with her digging tool, the paua, trying to open a fire pit and build a home. Namaka found her almost immediately, attacked her directly, and by some accounts left her for dead. Pele survived. She always survived. She moved on to Oahu, and there she dug more fire pits, leaving behind craters that are now some of the most recognizable landmarks in modern Honolulu, including the volcanic crater known today as Diamond Head. But Namaka's reach followed her there too, flooding what Pele tried to build almost as soon as she built it. This was the pattern that repeated itself across the entire island chain. Pele would land, dig, and begin to build something permanent. Namaka would arrive on the tide not long after, and the ocean would rise until whatever fire Pele had lit went dark beneath the water. It was never a single battle. It was a chase conducted one island at a time, across what modern estimates put at hundreds of miles of open Pacific, with neither sister ever willing to be the one who stopped first. She moved to Molokai next, then to Maui, where she dug deep enough to raise the volcano Haleakala, an entire mountain built in a single stop on a journey that refused to end. Each island Pele touched, she left something behind. Each time, the sea came for her again. Namaka eventually realized her sister was still alive and went to Maui herself to finish what she had started. What followed at Hana, on Maui's eastern coast, was the most direct and total confrontation between the 2 sisters in the entire saga. The fight was catastrophic. 2 goddesses who commanded the 2 most destructive forces available to nature met on open ground with nothing held back. Namaka tore Pele apart with the full force of the sea goddess she was. And by every account of that battle, she believed her sister was finally dead. Some traditions say Pele's bones remain visible today as a hill near Hana called Ka Iwi o Pele, Pele's bones. A physical scar left on the landscape from the day one sister nearly destroyed the other completely. Namaka returned to the sea believing the war was over. She had done what she came to do. Her sister, the one who had broken their family apart and forced this entire ocean-spanning chase, was gone. For the first time since Kahiki, Namaka allowed herself to believe it was finished. Pele was not dead. A being of fire and creation cannot be ended the way a body can. And while Namaka believed her victory was total, Pele was already at work on the big island of Hawaii, digging into the slopes of Mauna Loa, building something the sea had never yet been able to reach. When Namaka discovered her sister was still alive, still building, still refusing to stay defeated, something in her finally broke in the opposite direction. She conceded. She could not permanently destroy her sister's spirit no matter how many times she tried. And she gave up the pursuit that had carried both of them across the entire Hawaiian island chain. Pele dug her final and eternal fire pit at the summit of a volcano the sea could not touch. Its name is Kilauea. She is said to live there still. In 1840, a young American geologist named James Dwight Dana joined a naval expedition to chart the Hawaiian Islands. He noticed something the Hawaiian oral tradition had been saying for generations before he ever arrived. The islands were not the same age. Kauai in the northwest was heavily eroded and clearly ancient. The big island of Hawaii in the southeast was young, raw, and still actively forming. Dana had just independently rediscovered through geology the exact route the legend of Pele describes. Kauai, then Oahu, then Molokai, then Maui, then finally Hawaii. Modern volcanology confirms this migration precisely. The Hawaiian Islands were built one at a time over millions of years by a single hotspot of magma beneath the Pacific Plate, moving in exactly the direction the old stories say Pele fled her sister. Namaka's floods are the ocean eroding older islands into ridges and reefs, while the newer islands remain sharp, raw, and volcanic. Pele's flight from island to island is the geological history of the Hawaiian archipelago, told by people who had no instruments, no satellites, no way to date rock, and got the sequence exactly right. Kilauea is still erupting. As recently as this year, lava fountains have shot over 1,000 feet into the air from its summit crater, and the United States Geological Survey monitors it around the clock, streaming live footage of exactly the kind of activity that Hawaiians have called Pele's presence for as long as anyone can remember. Scientists study the chemistry of the lava. Hawaiians who follow the old traditions call it something else entirely, and both descriptions are describing the same fire. This is a war that never technically ended. Namaka gave up the chase, but she did not disappear. The ocean still surrounds every island Pele ever built, eroding them slowly, patiently, the way water always eventually wins against everything except the newest fire. Every wave that breaks on a Hawaiian beach is still in the oldest telling of this story. Namaka's answer to a sister she could never quite finish. What makes this myth different from almost every other war in this season is that it is not a metaphor dressed up as geology. It is geology arrived at first through story, centuries before anyone had the tools to measure it. The Hawaiian Islands are quite literally the physical record of two sisters who could not stop fighting long enough to notice they had built a nation in the process. Modern Hawaiians still leave offerings at Kilauea's edge, still tell visitors not to take lava rocks home under threat of Pele's curse, still speak of her the way you would speak about a difficult relative rather than a distant deity from a story. she is not treated as history. She is treated as present, temperamental, and very much still awake beneath the Big Island's surface. Exactly the way she has been described for as long as anyone alive can remember being told about her. Namaka chased her sister across an entire ocean, flooded every home she tried to build, and believed at least once that she had killed her completely. Pele kept surviving, kept moving, kept digging, until she reached a fire the sea could never reach. Modern geology proved the myth was tracking something real the entire time. If two sisters who could never make peace ended up building one of the most beautiful island chains on Earth by accident, does the fighting matter less than what it left behind? Or is the beauty simply what a war this old eventually turns into? Next time on Gods and Empires, we travel to the Andes. A god rises from the bottom of a lake, builds a race of giants out of solid stone, watches them disobey him, and drowns the entire world in 60 days and nights of rain to start over. This is not a metaphor for a flood. Ancient Andean people believed it happened exactly this way, and they built an empire on what came after. The story of Viracocha is waiting.